Good morning, geeks, and welcome to another episode of our Better Than Wolves series. I wish the kitty would just leave me to record sometimes. But since the last episode, I realized that the positioning of our windmill was not actually centered. So I did go ahead and recenter that, and I've also been collecting food. Very diligently. We got a giant field for potatoes. We're going into the second field now, and we've almost got half a field of wheat. And our hemp field is actually complete, which means that starting now, I can start feeding hemp seeds to the chickens as well. And I need to add railings to this area. But yeah, I'm starting to get a supply of melons and pumpkins and things, and I can probably feed those seeds to chickens as well. So tasty sandwiches are probably going to be a major staple for me in terms of food to start out with. Because chicken's easily accessible and bread is easily accessible. So that's what I'm thinking. And yeah, today one of the things that we need to work towards is making some tanned leather so that we can make our saw. So the first step of making tanned leather is taking our leather and putting it through the millstone, and that'll turn it into scoured leather. Scoured leather. And then we need to take that leather and we need to cut it up and tan it. So in Better Than Wolves, shears have more uses than they would otherwise. You can take your leather, you can cut it up like so, and then we need to tan it. And the way we do that is we need a cauldron. It's going to be 7 iron, 1 bone, and a bucket of water. I believe we do get the bucket back, so let's see. Do that, and that gets us a cauldron. We did get the empty bucket back, which I'm just going to fill up so that later on we don't forget about it by mistake. And then the next thing we need is set up a fire for this cauldron. We want to do that a little bit away from the wood. So I got plenty of netherrack. And I'm just going to set this up over here. Let's see. Go 2 down. Light this on fire and put the cauldron on top. This cauldron is good for cooking large amounts of food, and it also has some recipes tied to it. And one of those recipes is tanned leather, which is going to involve bark, leather, and dung. So we're going to need to start working towards a supply of dung, which you get from wolves. So just go ahead and get this ready. There we go. That's 2 tanned leather. Then we take the leather and we cut it up into strips, like so. And then we tie these strips together in order to make a belt, which I believe is made like so. Alright. Then I need some more iron. We have just enough iron in order to do this. We need some gears. don't know if we actually have any gears left. Alright, we'll make some. I think we need 3 gears. A little bit of hiccups. So, something like this. And that makes a saw. We can then connect this saw to our mechanical power, which is a little bit dangerous because saws can hurt us, which is why we're going to attempt to make it so we can't walk under it. I don't know how quickly this thing is going to kill us. Oh. Let's actually try to replace this. And with this, we can get additional wood and resources from things. So that one piece of wood there gave us 4 planks compared to the 2 we got from chopping it. So that's an increased rate for us. We want to just keep cutting. And we're going to get to our next sort of automation tool with this. So you can also cut up wood planks even further with this saw to little half blocks. These are different than slabs, and the way that they're different than slabs mainly comes down to the way that you place them. If you've ever played with red power, it's kind of similar to that. So you can do a slab like that if you wanted to, or you can do sidings like so. But I don't think you can actually put them on. You can also put them on the roof, and everything there is good. The good thing about these are these wood pieces, these half planks, is they can also be used in place of planks themselves. So I can use 4 pieces of wood in order to make a chest, which is half as much as you would need otherwise. I'm trying to work here. So, great. I'm gonna need a new sword soon. And also, I need more inventory space. Let's see. And more iron. There's a lot of things that I need more of. Now, the recipe for the hopper, which is the next thing we need, is a little bit foreign to me. So I'm going to try messing around with that off camera. Oh, well, I'll try it once on camera and we'll see what happens. So, I believe we need to cut up these a little bit. We go down to 32. And I'm going to cut this up a little bit further. Further than that. Let's actually do 2, 4. Alright. So I believe the recipe for this is something similar to this, but I'm not exactly sure. So I'm gonna have to try to look it up and see how we can make this hopper. And then I'll be back. So I'll see you guys in a little bit. So I talked about this a little before on the previous episode about how I was finding out recipes, and I want to show you guys a little bit about how I've been doing it. So the way that I've been doing it is using a program called Java bytecode editor, which allows you to open encoded Java classes, and from there you can find more information about files in a sort of encoded way. So inside of here, we opened up the forgecraftrecipe.class folder that they added, and now we want to figure out how to make the hopper. So on the left here, we have a whole bunch of different kinds of recipes. The recipes we want to look at are block recipes, I'm pretty sure. And then we want to select this. Now, inside of here, we have a whole bunch of really obscure sort of things. And here's what a recipe looks like. We got two different lines right here that say here is two recipes or two items next to each other. So a 4x4 recipe that involves every thing that is character 35 replaced with wicker, which means that 35 is this character, the pound symbol, and that's replaced with wicker. The next thing we need to do is find out where the hopper is, which the easiest way that I found to do that is just copy and paste this over to a new file. And from there, check things out. So just resize that. And search for hopper, I guess. Forgecraft hopper. Alright, so pound, X, Y, X, and Z. So 35 is replaced with siding, wood siding item. 88, which you can figure out by typing Control-0, 88, or no, Control-0, 88, that's an X. X's are gears, so that. AQ means that it's a vanilla item, so that's probably going to be the chest. And then the corner, which means if we go back into the game here and try that recipe out, I'm gonna need to make gears, and in order to do that, what I'm going to do is just cut up some more corners, like so. So siding, 2 gears. And a chest. Well, no wait. Did it say siding or molding? Corner was the bottom. Let's just go back and check that out again. Over to here. Uh-oh. Ah. Well, I'm going to mess around with the recipe until I figure it out. So, I will see you guys in one moment. Alright, I've figured out the recipe for making a hopper, and I've made a couple ahead of time. As it turns out, that item that we saw was actually a pressure plate and not a chest. So the way this works, let me just cut up some more items, or some more wood here. We take 2 gears, 2 oak slabs, 2 corners, and 2 pressure plates, and we can make some hoppers. Now, these hoppers are honestly inferior to the hoppers that are added in 1.5, but the hoppers added in 1.5 by Vanilla Minecraft are disabled because I guess Flower Child is stubborn and he thinks his hoppers are better or something. But they are definitely not. The way these hoppers work is they have a filter slot up here, and you can put different things like, for example, ladders on top, and that will allow you to filter out, for example, ladders prevent blocks from going through, but will allow almost anything smaller to go through, so like a shovel or whatever. Also, these hoppers require a mechanical power in order to move items downwards to, let's say, this chest. So it will just remain in here until to provide it some power. But honestly, I really would prefer the normal hoppers that allow you to move items to the left or the right or whatever you need, and you can like apply redstone signals to things to stop them. But I don't know, I guess that's the Flower Child way. Also, I was saying Forgecraft for some reason before in the previous little clip when I meant to say Flower Child, but that's irrelevant. Now, the reason that we needed these hoppers is to automate our first sort of major food farm, and actually automate a lot of farms. The first thing that we're going to automate is chickens. Chickens will lay eggs after you feed them only. They don't lay eggs randomly. You have to feed them some seeds for that to happen. And that takes quite a bit of time. I think it takes like 10 to 15 minutes or something like that. So waiting around and watching the chickens and everything is a little bit ridiculous in terms of getting eggs. So we're going to automate it using the hoppers. And yeah, so I need to bring the chickens over to this area. And once we've done that, I'll begin recording again. But that'll probably have to wait until the next day. So, I will see you guys in a little bit when we are ready to mess around with the chicken automation. So, see you guys. I've gone on an adventure and I got myself a whole bunch of dung-producing puppies. So, this will help me get tanned leather, which will allow me to make more belts and will allow me to make more of these high-tier things. I really need to figure out a way to make it so that it automatically detects when it's raining. Excuse me. Start getting a little groggy, but that gear has broken so many times now. But we got enough dung to produce or to process all of that, and now what I want to do is I want to start working towards the bellows and making stuff to process my iron back down once it's finished. That way I can make iron armor and not die as much. I've actually died a couple times, and I don't know if I've mentioned it or not, but I turned off hardcore spawns. Hardcore spawns just leads to instances where I spend an hour running around trying to find my way back, and I'm not going to sit down and try to rebuild like the first boring hours of Better Than Wolves over and over and over again. That doesn't seem appealing to me. So yeah, that's where we're at the moment. I'm gonna try to figure out how to make a turntable and a couple of the other machines that we require. So probably back in a bit after I figured out the turntable recipes. Turns out, like, when it's nighttime, got creeper right there. When it's nighttime, I end up turning over to this area and hanging out near the crops, because it's a little bit safer over there. I have been lighting things up as well, but not enough to make it so that I can safely work over there all night long. So I gotta work on that as well. So I will see you guys in a bit after I finish those things. Holy crap! Ah! What the hell? One of my dogs turned into a werewolf. I think. Where'd he go? Oh God. I don't even know how this happened. I was just looking for recipe stuff and I heard growling from a really long distance. And I think he's gonna drown. He's just gonna kill himself. Nope. He found his way. Hold on here. Come on. Get away! I don't even know what happened. Okay. Apparently, puppies sometimes grow up into horrible monsters, or these guys randomly turn into werewolves? It is a full... Oh, it's a full moon. Okay. Well, that's interesting. I'll have to watch out for that. Back to trying to figure out how to make a turnable. Or, no, turntable. Turntable. So another interesting thing, apparently you can cut your leather using shears, and then turn your cut leather gear into leather gear that works the exact same way. Let's see if there's a scored leather version. Let's see. No scored leather, but there is a tanned leather, and maybe that adds a little bit more protection. So if it comes down to it, I might use that until I can get iron going. So let that leather get ground up, and back to experimenting, back to collecting dung, and playing with the turntable. I believe maybe I could just show you my next guess, seeing as I'm very close to it. So I was thinking that maybe turntable might be made with a belt in the center, so oak, pressure plate, or yeah, that, and a gear. No. Maybe stone. Yeah. So I'm just randomly guessing based off of what I know, which is that there's siding across the top and then 4 pieces of something there, and the gear goes on the bottom and something in the middle. So I don't know what yet. I'm gonna keep playing around with it and we'll see what we can find. I don't even know what happened there. Odd puppies being odd. Alright. I'm a little bit further in. I know the recipe is smooth stone, gears, siding, and in the center here is a sundial. However, I don't know how to make a sundial. The sundial recipe is not the same that it used to be, so it's not 4 gold and a piece of redstone. It's 4 gold and something else. I'm not exactly sure what. So, again, I'm at a sort of stuck point. So, I'm gonna keep banging my head against this. Another couple hours later. I figured it out. Of all things. It's gold nuggets and quartz in the center. And I also realized you can't convert stone back, or black stone back into quartz, so I had to go mine some more. Unless you can grind it. Let's hope maybe you can grind it or something. Nah, doesn't seem like it. So, let's try making this turntable, and we'll discuss a little bit about what the turntable is used for. Let's see. First we have to create it. Like so. Turntable. And then we need to hook it up. In an upright fashion, which means, let's see, I'm gonna have to make a couple more gears, or a couple more gearboxes. Like so. Using the cut-up blocks in place of wood to sort of save yourself some amount of resources. And now we need some more axles. Again. You need the moldings for this. Yeah, moldings for the axles. Let's do 32. And put the rope back. My inventory is becoming a real mess as I do this. Alright. I don't know how many conversions you actually get before the gearboxes stop working, but I know there is a limit, so hopefully we don't run up against that. Let's grab these. Gearbox. Ideally, we probably want to go into the ground a little bit in order to have it so the turntable is flush. Let's see. Scored leather. Let's put some of this stuff back. Another rack. Compass. All the hemp fiber we'll process later. And I'm also probably going to do a test to see how many gearboxes we can come through. might as well figure that out so that we can build around it later. Get all this flour, get all this food now. Mostly from the fields, not too much wood, or not too much meat. And you can actually feed these guys tasty sandwiches. So you can actually extend the amount of food you have for them. But that's a completely different story. Let's see. Where was I? I was making a shovel. Turn those to sticks. Like so. Oh, I can't actually turn that off. Maybe made a little bit of a mistake here. Gearbox. Axle. This thing's not. Oh yeah, it is smoking. Axle. And another gearbox. Another axle. And a turntable. Now, what this does is allows you to put blocks on top of it, and these blocks will turn. Now this isn't really evident until you start putting things on the sides of them, and then you can see this torch is going around, and if you change the different settings here, it will go slower and slower and slower. And then if you put a redstone, or if you were to put a redstone torch on here, you can actually make an adjustable clock, which is good for automation, sort of late game, making different variable speeds and clocks and whatnot. It also allows us to progress further into the tech tree when we start using it in combination with clay, much like a clay turntable. See, I've only got a little bit of clay, but we'll be able to do it. Every time the thing turns, it changes in terms of its stage. Now, as you can see, as it turns, it becomes different sort of things. So it was two different kinds of phases, and now we got a jar. These jars are really important late game. We're gonna need a whole bunch of these, and then it becomes this little stopper thing, and then finally it breaks completely. But each time it changes stage, you get the clay back, and you can build it back, so you're not losing any resources as it turns. Alright, so that's the stage we wanted to stop at. You can actually use pistons to push the clay off of the turntable. And yeah. The next part of the process is actually firing this piece of pottery so that it can become something similar to a cauldron. So in order to do that, what we need is a really hot fire from a kiln. Now, it's going to take me a little while to get that stuff together, so, or figure out how to make it. So first thing that we need to figure out is how to make a bellow. So I'll show you progress as we start to craft that. So see you guys in a bit. I realize what it is. I am missing a few steps before I can actually make a stoked fire. I need to make a hibachi, which is made with ground netherrack. So I'm gonna grind up, I don't know, let's say 4 or 3 stacks is as much that goes into a millstone. And I want to just allow you guys to hear the fantastic sounds that happen when you grind netherrack. Isn't it beautiful? So that will get you ground netherrack, and then you need to take ground netherrack and process it through a hopper that has a filter on it. A filter of soul sand. Let's see how we're doing in terms of soul sand. I've got a few. Now, this is a dangerous process. You probably want to wait until we have a few pieces of ground netherrack here. We can do it with this. But you put ground netherrack through and it will create hellfire dust. And if you put more than 8 pieces of ground netherrack to create hellfire dust, this soul sand will actually explode, and it will let loose a ghast in the overworld. So you can make kind of a ghast spawner this way, if you wanted to. But it's a little bit of a messy process. So, I don't know. I'm going to start processing some hellfire dust here, and hopefully I'm going to be able to figure out how to make the concentrated hellfire after that fact. So it's a lot of attempting to remember things. Let's see here. 3, 4, 5, 6, and we did 9 there in total. That's just because I cycled the soul sand. If you take it out and then put it back in, it thinks it's, or it kind of refreshes the soul sand and allows you to try or to do it again. Now, let's see if this works. I think 8 pieces of hellfire dust will make like a hellfire ingot. That or it'll make hellfire coal. I can't remember which one. Oh, there we go. Okay, concentrated hellfire. And we need that to make a hibachi. And hibachis are the only thing that can create stoked fire. So I'm going to continue processing this netherrack for a while, and when we've got that all done, I will. I'll be back. I'm trying to think of what the process of making the elements is. So there's lots of things to remember. I'll see you guys in a bit. Alright. So one of the parts of this process is making a filament. I've got a couple of them. That requires glowstone, string, and redstone in a cauldron. And that'll produce a filament after some time. You don't want to overstoke these. Then after you've done that, I haven't actually tested out this recipe yet because I just wanted to show you guys that filament. You want to take your filament, concentrated hellfire. I'm missing my redstone. 1 second here. Let's take the redstone out of here now. Redstone, concentrated hellfire, and stone. Ah, crap. Hold on. It could potentially be wood or cobblestone. Let me try. I'm so close right now. see. AD is the ID for this thing, which, if I look for a quick second, while tabbed out right now, and you guys can't tell, AD is... Well, I'm gonna have to mess around and try to figure out what aid, or what is required for this bottom section. Thought it was gonna be a redstone, or something like that. So I'll see you guys in 1 second. Alright, I figured out the problem that I was having before. The things I created are filaments, not elements. I need elements in order to create, the hibachis that I want to. However, I can't create those until I go back to the nether and collect some blaze rods. I've also died and lost a bunch of stuff. I got some of the stuff that was important, but I don't know. I just wanted to get out of there after dying. So I think I'm going to call it a night in terms of recording and just relax a little bit. But yeah, I have an idea of what we need to do next episode, and it just comes down to executing it. And then we will get to the point where we can actually smelt down some iron. And hopefully after that, I can get some good gear on. And once I've got good gear, hopefully my frustrations will be a little less. So, we got enough diamonds now to create a full diamond set. And once we've done that, hopefully we can survive better. And yeah. So, I also want to kill all of these dogs, waiting to record, getting ready to record, and just hanging around this location, just listening to them whine over and over and over again. But yeah. So, I will see you guys tomorrow, and have a nice night, day, or whatever.